All right, so I want to get this video. This is not a religious video. I like that this video came from a religious person, so I can speak on it a certain way. Excuse me. This is very important for many people, as far as like for the young life and for people that may have things going on now and for the future. But I want to mention that I made a video yesterday and it didn't take, and it does this sometimes on my phone, and I don't know why. And I already know that I have enough storage. I always take care of that stuff. So it's Sunday the 18th, 2026, and yesterday was when I did a 14-minute video and it didn't take. So sometimes I never know what's going on if someone else took my video or whatever, and whatever. But anyway, so this is important. I'm gonna let it play, and then after the video, maybe I can pick back up on a lot of the things that I had said yesterday. But there are many different things from this situation. I'm not just gonna speak on just this one situation. There's many things that can be spoke on this to where it's impossible for me to put it all in one video. So I'm just gonna try and make this real quick. So I'm gonna let this play, and I'm gonna go over some things as far as what I was thinking about. So hold on.
Oral sex. And like I say, it was in the late 70s when they started introducing oral sex. Around about the 90s, y'all went crazy with it. But they used to run for men that do stuff like that. Y'all run with the whipped cream, ice cream, and everything else with it. Edible patties, everything. So that go to tell you, Jamal, whoever's name, he freaky. They eating on one another. In my days, what you call a woman built and had it right, you didn't have to suck on her. You didn't have to lap no penis. You had to do none of that. What God gave us, baby, it worked. Our man came and he was packing. And we didn't have to build him up. We had to prime him up. He came ready because he was excited about the treat he was going to get. Today, y'all men don't come ready because, hey, look at your butt every day. You look at your nakedness every day. You feed a dog steak every day. Every day, you don't want that steak. So that's why they don't have no appetite for y'all. That's why you got to use your mouth because you show your stuff too much. They can't go to the grocery store. They're a naked woman. You can't walk in the parking lot. There go a naked woman. You can't go to church. There go a naked woman. If they ain't naked, they give you delusion of being naked. They wear them skin tight clothes or see-through dresses. Y'all gonna die for sex. It's sad, man. That's all y'all is, a big talk around here. That's a shame before God. Y'all have no values. Take that away from you, you ain't a bit of good. I'm glad I come through the era where women's taught you to be women's and men's know what it was to be men's. What y'all call sex ain't sex. Y'all are immoral and don't want to be taught no better. If you know what love was, love will make you horny. Love will make you want your partner. And you don't have to do all that other extra stuff. Just because of love. Praise God.
All right, so um, I was born in '85. So I also, or excuse me, I want to mention that my generation, I feel like we're in the middle as far as we were taught by the older generation going out right now, and we're in the middle of the generation coming up. And I think we're important also because we need to take in all the information from the older generation going out and, utilize it to the best we can for the younger generation coming up. And the younger generation got to work with us more and also teach us more, because they're getting the new information a certain way. So it is important that we take in as much as we can. Now, I mentioned being in the middle to also say that, okay, so times have changed. We're in 2026 now, so some things are acceptable. Um, in the sex world, some people love sex. Some people like to have sex. Some people do not believe, they don't have a religion, and this is where some of this importance come in, because many people can be misled from the sexual life, and it is not talked about. So back in our day, she is partially right also, because back in our day there was a lot of that foolery that wasn't cool. We wasn't really into all that. Also, relationships were different, love was different, when back then, it was simple. You did what you did, that was enough. Now, times have changed, and also this is another situation. Like I say, there's so many situations in this, and you have to excuse me, I'm trying to say so much so quick. So I want you to picture a graph, but the type of graph where it will have the something in the middle, and then it will have everything, like kind of like all the things coming out from it. So the situation in the middle, or whatever it may be in the middle, and the graph shows you how many things that put out. So that's what this video is. So like I say, so that was enough. So this is a different situation coming from that. So growing up, we all know, we don't even have to say this one person's name, but there was a certain person in rap music, and he mentioned something sexual, and that was just so off the wall to me, for someone to put that out there for millions to see. And um and it's just so crazy, like, okay, so to state it, where this person says that he eat the hind side of the other human, like, that's just nasty, man. But guess what, no, many people took that and ran with it and thought it was cool because this person said it, and that person is cool. That was in rap music. I don't even have to say a name. I'm pretty sure everybody knows, and if not, you can find somebody that can tell you, believe me. So, and that just wasn't cool. He did something anyway. So, okay, I want to tell you this, and this is a whole totally different situation. Don't have anything to do with a lot of people. Some people are being tortured, forced to do crazy sexual acts. So you guys have to be careful with what you put out and how you put it out. That's one thing with me also. Like, some people say things, and you don't understand that. You just put something out there that a million people can see. Inside of that, you did something. So as far as, like, you showed that you didn't care who you would have, you know and sometimes I understand. I'm not saying that anybody's perfect. Like, okay, I want to add to that. Let's say you did do something, like, let's say some of your content from back, because I have some content that was made in the past that I feel like I could apologize for right now. um Nothing too bad, because I don't put certain stuff out. I would never put in certain things out, especially with who I am anyway and what my message is supposed to be. There's many things that I could have put out that I never did. I never will, never would. So that is important there, because you can mislead your people. And now everybody, or excuse me, you have many people in the sex world thinking that that stuff is okay, and women, this is another situation. So um, women might not, n- some of them do not know how to control themselves um, a certain way, when it comes to sex. And um, they they're it's hard. You have to excuse me, because this is coming, like, I'm speaking right off the head here, and I'm trying to use all the right words, and I'm trying to describe it, and it's not in a bad way. So let's say that the lady is a nympho now, or not, but likes sex. Um, for me, to try and not try and use so many words, I always thought to try and use a certain subject for these things, as far as porn. So, and also, I when it comes to porn, I know that that can be utilized for, like, in the sexual education system or whatever. But anyway, so in porn, you will see majority of women doing certain things. You don't see men in porn being done a certain way. You don't see men in porn, yeah, pretty much being done a certain way, and also the wider variety, or like just more of women, and you see these acts going on, and you're like, okay, that happens, So, and me, I'm a ladies man. I've always been a ladies man, and I also want to speak on a whole nother subject as far as um relationships, or how sexual acts can drive a person to a relationship that they probably didn't need to be in a relationship. But anyway, in the porn, you have women a certain way. So if you're able to kind of have a very strong setting to teach your young life something, by exposing them, or by showing them that way, in their mind they know, what not to do, because it's the same thing as like rap music. Some people, like, I've had to have a talk with my kids, my young life, or whatever, like as far as different entertainment, rather it's like horror movies, or certain music, whatever it may be, trying to let them know, and I'm teaching them about the entertainment part of it, to why, okay, it's not acceptable in real life a certain way. Some of this stuff is just for entertainment. There are people behind those cameras, and I want you to be the one to be teaching yourself, or be thinking in your head, somebody was behind the camera that put that on this screen. What did that person think? How did it go? Who wrote it? All of this. So I teach them that. So in the porn, this is where I think, more teachings can be done. Also, men learning how to perform more. Also, women and men being more accepting to the sexual life and the lifestyle, or whatever. So, speaking on some of these parties that are being spoke about these days, in a sense, or in a way, some of it is not wrong, which most adults know. But we don't want to put it out there bad, because sometimes some of these things are just things that adults do. Now, um, going into a situation. So I'm a businessman. I've always been a businessman, and for over 20 years, I've had to deal with multiple women. And I'm a ladies' man. I love women, love beautiful women. So, um, me being a businessman, I have to keep my doors open and all, so um, I can deal, or whatever. So, but anyway, I want to give an example. So, let's say there's a lady, and the lady has been working with me, and we're building up, um and finally I shoot her the proposal. Now the proposal is, okay, I see what this individual does. Now I'm an entrepreneur. I'd have to connect one of my businesses with this person, or if this person is interested in investing or sponsoring, or whatever it may be, with any of my other businesses. So I'll bring that out, and all of this is in the proposal. Now, if the person takes the proposal, sometimes I don't even have to give a proposal. A lady, a lady will invest with me a certain way, and I'm cool with that, because I'm not, I don't, um, I don't do the funny business stuff. So, but anyway, with women, sometimes they'll invest more, because there's a there's a vibe there, there's a feeling there, because of who I am. I try and be a stand-up guy, good guy. And when I'm dealing with women, I'm not a horn dog off at first, and I don't show no intentions as far as trying to be a certain way. I'm a stand-up gentleman. It's strictly business, and we're gonna go from there, because for one, that's also how I am measuring this person, or I'm trying to see how I'm trying to see how intelligent this person is, kind of profiling the person. So, but anyway, and as we grow together. Now, if the person invests, because a lot of times a person is going to know whether it's one or another. I'm like that with other people. So, but anyway, so if the lady knows, and let's say she invests a certain way to where it really excels the business, or just really something. So naturally, a feeling is going to be there. Naturally, it's like, man, I really appreciate that. And the appreciation is also, the appreciation could come with some love, because if this lady is a beautiful lady, and of course this lady might know I'm interested in her a certain way, but I'm not going to play on that, but the lady will let you know. Allow the lady to choose you, however long it take. Allow the lady to choose you whenever the time is right. So, but anyway, what we're getting at is, so now me and this lady, we end up making love. Now it's called making love with me because I'm a loving person. I love all anyway. That's why I am the way I am with everyone. And until they give me reason not to be. So, and when I say I love all, as far as like, like how, like I'm supposed to be built a certain way where I give everybody, the benefit of the doubt, or I'm supposed to love all, bring all together. So, but, so that's why women take to me a certain way. So they know that I love them. And once, if we end up having sex or whatever, I call it making love, at the time. And now, of course, sometimes, whatever. But anyway, so I was gonna say, of course, sometimes if it's not making love, like let's say it was a night we're we may have went out and had a night, and we vibing or whatever, we had some drinks at a place or whatever, and we end up having sex or something. But anyway, a lot of times it's still a lot of love in the situation with me. So that's where it is correct. Like, love is love, now all like pointless sex, a lot of pointless sex, it means something, man. It's kind of, and if you understand what I'm saying, that's where it kind of come in. It's like, that's not right. You're not supposed to because sex is something, you're being very connected. And there's a lot going on in there. I'm talking about like transmission, there's, transition, or like there's a lot going on there, which is why you get a lot of theories where they say, okay, well, once you laid up with a person, there's a part of them always inside of you and stuff. So, but that's what I'm speaking on. So, excuse me. Okay, but what I'm getting at is, the system, or the people, have been taught that you have to have one, you have to be with one. You're not even supposed to have sex until you get married. None of this stuff it's not. Come on, man. I always get my blessings, and regardless of what goes on, if something happened, even from now, it would be from my recklessness in these past few years, or actually in the past couple years, or past year, or whatever, because I've been good. I'm good. So, and I'm talking about like with my blessings and with the way things come, all that. So none of that stuff can be true. I get my blessings. The Lord's always with me. All of that. Now, I want to mention the thing, or this is another important thing. So just because that lady invested in me and now we done made love, does not mean that I have to be in a relationship with that person. And they respect that as long as I'm honest. Now, I always tell women also that I'm a ladies' man, so that lets them know, and I always let them know, that there might, most of the time, or sometimes I already got other women that I'm dealing with anyway, so it's understood. I'm honest, and people know what's going on, and women like that also. That way, they know, they know what's going on. They know, just like I know my role wherever I am and my places or whatever. Women like to know their role, their places or whatever. They don't like to be led on, don't like to be lied to. No one does. So, but anyway, so just because that lady invested in me does not mean that I have to be in a relationship with her. Or just because we had sex or made love does not mean that I have to be in a relationship with her. Another lady could be coming along down the line, or another lady could be, this other lady that you have been building a relationship with in this other business, and now she invests. Or you might meet another lady, or also that's, it goes on. So as long as you are in the right mind about things, then you're good. So, like, let's say you see a lady, and of course you'll see a lady, and you're like, okay, I like this lady. I would like to, take take part in sexual activity or whatever. So, but that don't mean you have to go about it that way, like that. Now, situations are different. Sometimes men get to a point where it's time, to have sexual activity. So that's why it's comfortable for a man to just go out and find a lady that's, suitable to what they like, and they'll, rather just take care of the lady right then and there, as far as like, hey lady, is there anything that I can do for you, to where we can probably just have a good night tonight, and whatever. So, and men don't mind that, and there's different levels of that. So you got a man over here, this man might be, I'm talking about well off, let's say, you know what I mean by well off, and this man gets to that stage. The man is, he's at that stage, because a lot of times some men are just living their life. Older men, they're not always out here every day looking for some. Sometimes men are just, men have grown to try and be about their morals, and they're like, okay, well, I want to see how long I'm gonna go. Because with me, after so many years of doing, being with women, there was time I went like a year without, and at that time, like going through that, like in that year, is like really getting that feeling. I'm like, man, So I ended up, but anyway, so um and nothing is wrong with that. Nothing should be wrong with that. And there should be a better system for these situations, because by these situations not being acknowledged or talked about, that's why they're kind of like underground. And by them being underground is why there are so many victims to these situations, man. And that stuff is not right, man. Can you imagine one of your kids or one of your loved ones just being somewhere, being forced to do some of the craziest things in the sexual world? Like, that stuff ain't even cool. But you got some people out there that got crazy fetishes. So I came up where, okay, so the world knows about sex workers. Now, I got history, and in my past, if my name is looked up, I was already incarcerated. I already did it all in my older life. So women would come to me and they would want to work for me, whether it's, whatever. I've had, man, so many different people working for me. So, but anyway, and well, excuse me, I'm trying to pick up and I know I was talking about like the sex worker thing. I know the world knows about that. I know nothing should be wrong with that. I was saying that there should be more for people in these situations. I might have to, if I watch the video over, if I completely forgot what I was saying, I'll pick back up on it. Because I'm looking here and this video is already 22 minutes, so I'm gonna see if it records. And like I say, man, this is a lot. And man, there's even situations that I haven't spoken on in this, and it's important. Like, okay, inside the homes. So inside of homes, you have women that are not being satisfied sexually, and it's been going on for years because the man might not know how to perform. And I'm not just talking like this is not a joke. And you see how it even feels weird talking about these things, because it's just so underground. It's just so pushed out of the way. Oh, and it's kind of coming back to me where I'm saying, can you imagine some of your peoples being forced to do some things, because and then that's where I think, I've had women from that field working for me, and you have people that have fetishes, and so some women would tell me certain things, and I'm not saying this is a bad way, and I'm not going to put no one's business out, so I'm just letting it be known that this is very important, because you look at that, excuse me, I want you to look at that special person, next to you, and I want you to understand that they can be forced into something. They could land in a bad situation where something happened to them. Now, like, let's say with this new, or excuse me, it's new to us, and it's not cool, but like with the where they talking about they eating man, the stuff don't even sound right coming out talking about it. But when a person is talking about eating another person's behind, when you have a person do that, or when a person have you do that, they're pretty much just wanting. Okay, some people are on some freaky stuff, and you get that in the sex world. That's why you have to teach your peoples about this stuff early, because they might run into one of them freaky people, and one of them freaky people done turned them into something. Now, when you're young, this is another thing I remember speaking about yesterday. When you're young, you learn things, you see things at a young age, but you're not being taught about that. No, the parents and the grown-ups are acting like they're keeping it away from you, but the kids are definitely learning that stuff. You don't think that they're not? So now this gives them, from the time, like, let's say, okay, so at 5 years old, they're not really knowing much of it, but depending on what they have seen, At 5 years old, they have seen it, and so now they're going from 5 years old to 10 years old with no one teaching them about what they have in their heads about these things. So now some kids go through things at a young age, and they may feel bad about it, but you grow out of something because at a young age you don't understand. You're just running around with these thoughts, and all you know with these thoughts and these feelings. Now if they're taught better, they'd know better as far as like how to control their emotions, or their hormones, or whatever it may be. So um uh teaching them. Man, I'm sitting here, I'm talking so fast, man. Sometimes the thoughts will go right out my head, like what I'm talking about. But that's what I mean by it's important to teach them these things, because you don't want them running into one of them freak people. Because do you know that could traumatize them also? Like, let's say they run into one of these freak people and they have them do something. So not even at 10 years old, even at 10 years old, who is really teaching their kids about sex like that? So now from 10 to what? Now they're trying to say that, or excuse me, the legal age is 17, 18, 18 should be 19 maybe, whatever. I don't know. I don't, man. But anyway, um, there's another situation in there from 10 years old to 15 years old. I think that these children could have some type of system to where they could be doing something, to where they could probably have some revenue for themselves. Like I say, I've been in many households, worked with many people, worked with many households, and some households don't uh no, I'm saying like or excuse me, all households, like the individual at that age, the mind is able to function. So but of course we'd have to be careful with the adults that are over this system, because we see how some people are targeting the children, and we have to put stricter rules on that for it not to even be a thing or something. So, and also work with people that we can kind of tell that they love kids, not people that's you can, all the hiring system is like, oh yeah, you qualify, you're in. These are kids. So the American system couldn't come up with a better system for that. Just like the American system can't come up with a better system for many other things, but we can do all this other stuff. So yes, we can, and we have to. So, but anyway, but like I say, man, this is very important, man. Very, very important. And I know one thing that I was talking on as far as like men not being able to perform. You have to understand that woman is not really being satisfied. So, and it seems like these words are coming out and are not as strong as they need to be, because the situation is just so underground, and men don't understand it. There is a thing to a woman. Like, a woman don't get off as easy as men do. As like the man is gonna get off every time because of the way the situation is. But with a woman, it takes more. So women have to excuse men also, which they do. But also women, or excuse me, also men have to understand, and everyone have to understand, that people have these sexual urges, and that is why some people go out, and you guys call it cheating. Man, try to cater to that sexual urge. And also, you can't just say, oh, I'm not enough for you. Come on, man. If it's been over 5 years and it's been faithful that long, I think you should try and uh gift the other person something or something. I mean, come on. Like I say, it's been over 20 years. I've always been a ladies man, but I've always been honest with my women. My women have always known about my other women. So I think that's why they understand. But anyway, I want to stop this. It turned out to be a long video. Maybe I could chop it up. But this is very important stuff, man. Teach the young life. Try and stay away from the bull crap. Also, I want to say this. If it was as good as they say it is, or it's as normal, ask your lady. Ask not your lady, excuse me. And I don't mean to say this stuff, but I just want to put it out there. That way they put some on it. So ask the next lady, when if how sometimes people make a joke about having a resume for the next relationship. So ask that person, be like, yeah, how many butts have you eaten? Or excuse me, I don't man, I'm sorry, I don't even know if that can be said. Like, I don't even know, man, that stuff sounds crazy, man. But yeah, they act like it's cool. It's not cool, man. I got some other videos to put in to show you where how the older school, the older people, it just really wasn't on that. But this new day and age stuff, man, and to the person that put that out there like that, to try and like, that's crazy. So yeah, we're gonna wish that on, yep, because you don't care, like, and we can tell with your attitude, the way you carry yourself now, you would still do the same thing. So on your loved ones and whoever, whatever, yeah, we wish that on them. Yep, yep. Just like you retarded, shit, we retarded. I'm retarded. I already know how I've been. I know how I am and how I get. When the negative is around, it brings negativity out of me. And I'm from the streets the same way. I ain't trying to go back and forth or talk. It is what it is. But all right.
Shit, I ain't gonna lie to you. If my girl made that salad for me, I would have ate that bitch. I eat her ass on a regular.